Okay, going back to the functions of the acid in the stomach, it activates enzymes such as pepsin, breaks up food, helps us with digestion, converts ferric ions into ferrous ions in order to be able to absorb it at the level of the intestines, and destroys any microorganism that may fall in the stomach. So pepsin is the byproduct of the digestion of pepsinogen. Chief cells are going to produce pepsinogen, and the acid will activate the pepsinogen into pepsin. Pepsin is going to help us digest proteins. You scroll down. Gastric lipase. Chief cells also produce gastric lipase that are going to help us start the digestion of dietary fat. Intrinsic factor, parietal cells produce intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is very important because it's going to help us absorb vitamin B12 at the level of the small intestine. If we don't have B12, we're going to end up with anemia because vitamin B12 is necessary in order to produce hemoglobin. Chemical messengers, some of them are going to be the vasoactive intestinal peptide, BIP, secretin, GIP, gastric inhibitory peptide. Gastric motility, when you swallow the food, it stimulates mechanoreceptors that you have in the pharynx, and this stimulates your brainstem. And then your brainstem will prepare your stomach to receive the food. Once the food reaches in the stomach is going to start moving, turning and churning, trying to mix the food with the acid to start breaking down the food. Here you have a nice summary of the functions of each one of these cells. Parietal cells produce hydrochloric acid intrinsic factor. This acid is neutralized by the mucus produced by the mucus cells. Chief cells, they produce pepsinogen that is going to be converted into pepsin, and gastric lipase that is going to help us digest fat. Gastric stimulates the secretion of the acid and also stimulates the movement of the small intestine. Serotonin stimulates gastric motility. Somatostatin is very important because this inhibits the gastric secretion and motility. Vomiting is a reaction towards toxins or infections. Due to this type of stimulus, they're going to open the cardiac sphincter, relax the esophagus, and increase pressure in your abdominal area is going to eject the contents towards the outside. Digestion and absorption. Digestion basically starts in the mouth. It doesn't stop there because after that it goes into your stomach. After that it will go into your small intestine where the final digestion is going to happen. You will absorb the nutrients at the level of the intestines. Protection of the stomach. Stomach is protected because we produce mucus. Also, we have tight junctions in between the cells of your stomach, not allowing this acidity to go across, therefore damaging the tissues that we have under that. The last one, the cells, the epithelial cells that you have in your stomach are constantly replaced. That happens every 3 to 5 days. For this exchange, help us maintain the stomach in good order. Regulation of gastric function. Steps in digestion, one of them is the cephalic phase, the other one is the gastric phase, and the other one is the intestinal phase. Cephalic phase, you don't put the food in your mouth, but for example, if you are hungry right now and we start talking about a barbecue and some meat and some shrimp, etc., you're going to start salivating. So there's no food in your mouth, but your brain starts producing all these different type of changes necessary in your digestive system in order to receive the food. Next one, gastric phase. Once it goes into your stomach, the food is mixed with acid, and the first part of the main digestion starts happening. After that, it goes into your intestines, where at the end, all this type of food that we're going to ingest is going to be digested at the level of your intestines by the pancreatic enzymes. Keep scrolling down. We have gastric phase. We already talked about it. Intestinal phase, we also mentioned that. Right here you see normal tissue, and right here you see an ulcer. The next topic is liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. So we scroll down. We have the liver. That's the first part. Is found in the right hypochondriac area. Anatomy, it has 4 lobes. Left, right, caudate, and quadrate. Here you have caudate, quadrate, right, and left. Okay, here's the gallbladder. Here you have the inferior vena cava. Okay, a very important ligament that is going to keep the liver in place is the falciform ligament. Main job of the liver related to the digestive system is the production of bile. Again, in here we have gross anatomy. We already talked about the different type of lobes that we have, the ligament as well, and we have now microscopic anatomy. You're going to see this figure. See, it goes like this, like this, like this, like this. This is actually a hexagon, but you're seeing only part of it. That you're going to have a blood vessel in the middle and 2 blood vessels and a tube and the borders of the hexagon. So I was telling you, this is a hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a hepatic lobule. You have a vein in the middle, central vein. and in the corners, you're going to have a hepatic triad. Why is it called a hepatic triad? Because this is the liver, hepatic triad, because you have 3 tubes. The vein, artery, this one is going to be the bile duct. This vein right here is the branch of the hepatic portal vein. This artery right here is the branch of the hepatic artery. And this bile ductile right here is the one that is going to collect the bile. So very important, hepatic triad, hepatic lobule, hepatocyte, each one of these little cells. In the middle, you have the central vein. In addition to that, you also have Kupffer cells, which are the cells that are going to digest debris and microorganisms. So the Kupffer cell is part of your lymphatic system or your immune system. So let's keep scrolling down. What I already explained, your Kupffer cells. And here's the gallbladder. The gallbladder is where you store the bile. Look at the tube that we use for bile. And this one right here is the pancreas. The pancreas have different areas. This one is going to be the pancreatic tail, the pancreatic body, the pancreatic head. This is your small intestine. The first part of the small intestine is the duodenum. The pancreas has this main pancreatic duct as well as this accessory duct right here. This bile duct gets together with the main pancreatic duct right here. Both of them get together and we get only one hole. The hepatopancreatic sphincter is this one, and this is the hepatopancreatic ampulla. So let's keep going down. Circulation in the liver, we already talked about it. We said that we have the blood coming from the hepatic portal vein and from the artery. They're going to form the hepatic triad together with the bile canaliculi. And then after that, they are going to get together the artery and the vein, in this case, in order to form in the central vein, and the central vein eventually will turn into the inferior vena cava. We already talked about that. Gallbladder and bile. The gallbladder stores the bile, and the bile is produced by the liver. Bile is mainly cholesterol, phospholipids, as well as bile pigments. The main bile pigment is bilirubin. The bile is going to help us digest fat. Therefore, every single time we are digesting food, the presence of fat will stimulate the release of bile. Out of the bile that gets released, approximately 80% of it gets reabsorbed in order to be reprocessed into bile again. So that's something that you need to remember. The 20% remaining is eliminated in feces, and this is the only way in which we are able to eliminate cholesterol from our body. For the next topic, pancreas.